a revolution is coming to the NFL. Hey guys, I'm Joshua Klein, your host of the Draft Beard podcast. And that's right, a revolution is coming to the NFL by way of the running backs in this year's NFL draft. The running back position is being revitalized in the NFL, and this draft is going to spearhead that tremendously. This is an absolutely loaded running back class. You're going to find starters all up and down the board. You have your home run hitters, third down backs, every down backs. You have your short yardage situational backs. This draft class is absolutely loaded. There are too many starters or potential starters available than there are positions available on NFL teams. So you're going to get tremendous value in this draft. If you need a running back, or maybe down the road you think you might need a running back, this is the year to grab a running back. But before we get to that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. I would really appreciate it. It helps get that content out there to those who are interested in the NFL draft, or maybe anything sports related. So go ahead and hit that subscribe, that like button, share that. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. That way you do not miss out on a single episode of the Draft Beard podcast. You'll be notified immediately when content comes out there. And there's going to be a lot of content already scheduled and already dropping over the next few days, as we are just 4 days away from the 2025 NFL draft. And let's get started right away with talking about running backs. This draft class, as I said, is absolutely stacked and loaded. If you guys are fans of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast, Connor Rogers kind of said that he expects maybe 13 starters out of this draft. I think that's a little much, and I don't think he was joking, but this draft is crazy, crazy deep. I do think that you're going to get a lot of starters out of this draft. Maybe not right away, but a lot of players who are going to get number one carries. I would not be surprised if you had 8, 9, 10 plus players over the next couple years, maybe more, who actually turned out to get starter carries with this draft class, because it is stacked. I have 15 players that I graded either third round or early fourth round grades, and there are plenty more after that. I'll give you a few of those names to watch out for that you could hear third round, fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, who actually could play a really good role and be in the NFL for a long time, and names that you're going to want to be familiar with. Well, we'll get started with my number 15 guy on the list, and it's Devin Neal, the running back out of the University of Kansas. He is a high floor, elusive running back, 5'11", 3 1/8, 213 pounds, ran a 4.58 40. He was a 4-star recruit from Lawrence, Kansas, so low moving cost there as he went to the University of Kansas and became Kansas's all-time leading rusher, where he amassed 4,343 yards, 49 touchdowns, and 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He's a running back with the elite ability to read blocks, find creases. He's got exceptional vision. He ranked 14th by PFF in overall grade among running backs with an 85.7 elusiveness rating. Really good one-cut agility. He's a twitched-up runner, good sharp jump cuts, explosive burst, got quick acceleration through the hole, turning routine plays into chuck plays, good contact balance through contact. Is a pretty reliable receiver. He had 79 catches, only 5 drops in his career, which is 10.6 yards per catch also in 2024. So he's also a natural pass catcher with soft hands, so he can be used in the screen game. Did not fumble very well at all. Bounces off tackles with a really good low center of gravity and super durable. A lot to like with Devin Neal. The flip side is he doesn't have top end speed, right? He only ran a 4.58 40, so he's not one of these guys that's going to be a home run hitter or a guy who's going to break it. He's a little undersized for being a workhorse every down back, so he lacks the leg drive to push the pile. So he really could add some bulk. Allows for some speed and agility at his current weight, but really needs to get some more functional strength. Sometimes he can be a little bit too patient, a little bit of hiding behind the line of scrimmage a little too long that can lead to some negative plays. In the pass catching game, he had some drops. He doesn't really drop the ball in terms of fumbles. Sometimes at pass catching. I liked him a lot. I don't think that there is the highest ceiling with Devin Neal, but there's a really good floor. I think he can come in, be your second running back on your roster, be the guy who maybe you might need in short-yarded situations, guys who's going to get you some good, consistent, maybe not consistent all the time. He does overly rely on his patience, but I think he can be a guy that can get you, 4 yards a carry, 4.5 yards a carry, not a home run hitter. Really good probably in an outside zone RPO running scheme. I comp them to a Devin Singletary type running back, compact build, decent zone running savvy. Both struggle a little bit in pass protection. And one thing you're going to hear a lot of comps to in this year's draft class, there are a lot of running backs who comp very well to this particular running back, and that's David Montgomery of the Detroit Lions, right? You're going to see a lot of running backs who offer similar consistency, also have some ability to be a good receiver, right? Good power, guy who could maybe get you 20 carries a game. There's a lot of those in this draft class. So I like Devin Neal, and I had him higher on my draft board, but as the more I watched more and more running backs just kind of be where he fell, and he fell at number 15. And that tells you how deep this class is, that a guy at number 15 could still be a starter this year in the NFL. So that's Devin Neal. He is at number 15. The next guy on my list at number 14 is LaQuint Allen out of the University of Syracuse. LaQuint is 6 foot and a quarter, 207 pounds. He ran a 4.60 40-yard dash. He had really good production at the University of Syracuse with 2,359 yards, 26 TDs, and a record setting for the program, 119 receptions for 848 yards and 6 touchdowns, receiving throughout of his career. So he's a really good elite receiving running back, one of the better ones in this class. He does a really good job at route running. Has really reliable hands out of the backfield, catches passes in space. He's one of the best pass-catching running backs in this draft. Physical running style, he's a violent finisher, strong contact balance, runs with a good low center of gravity, possesses impressive power. 20 total touchdowns in 2024, so he's really good in the red zone. Reads blocks well, allows plays to develop 85 PFF vision grade, doesn't fumble. And he is one of the top 2 or 3 pass protecting running backs in this year's draft, right? Really aggressive, knocks blitzers back, allows the quarterback to be able to get release of the ball. Really liked him a lot. Really surprising agility. Despite his build, he has a little good lateral quickness. He does a really good job at making subtle cuts, kind of sidesteps defenders in the open field. He's another one of these guys that lacks the top end speed, right? Lacks breakaway speed, no 50-plus career yard runs, lacks elite burst, 6.983 cone. So he's not really open field elusive. Has a little bit more of an upright running style. So he has a high hipped frame. Needs to develop a more nuance in his route running. So he is a good pass catching running back. Could be a little bit more nuanced in his route running. Good, reliable hands. Decent route tree, but just needs to do a little bit better to excel even more as a pass catching running back. Does struggle with a little bit of drops. He had 5 drops on 119 catches throughout his career. Lean frame for 207 pounds. Doesn't break tackles a lot or push piles. So I like him. The pass catching ability is what brought him ahead of Devin Neal. I comped into a Joseph Adai, if you remember him, a Justin Jackson from the Chargers, if you guys remember him as well. Those are my comps for LaQuint Allen. But I think he's going to have some value to NFL teams because of that pass protection ability and be a receiving back out of the backfield. Not a guy who's going to be a home run hitter at all, and I had him at number 14. That takes me to my number 13 running back in this year's draft, and that is Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech. Taj is a 5'9", 214-pound running back. He was a 4-year starter at Texas Tech. He was a workhorse at Texas Tech. He is small, compact, really good low center of gravity, really dense frame, which creates natural leverage, allows him to power through those arm tackles. He has really elite vision and patience. He has Le'Veon Bell-like patience. He just waits for blocks to develop. Really good at exploiting cutback lanes, good contact balance. He forces defenders to slide off due to that low pad level. And he carried the ball 290 times in 23, 286 times in 2024. So he is just a workhorse. He also caught 102 passes for 548 yards over his career. So he does have that ability to be a pass catcher out of the backfield. He only fumbled 5 times on his workhorse of 879 carries throughout his career. Posted a 4.06 20-yard shuttle and a 6.93 3-cone. So he's more agile in testing than you would think, and displays a really good stiff arm. He uses that well and really effective. Another one of these running backs which has limited breakaway speed, so he doesn't have that second gear, average burst and acceleration through the line of scrimmage. Not as good as a pass protector, so he's willing but inconsistent in that blitz pickup. Not really elusive in space. He relies on his physicality to break tackles, but still has that ability, it looks like, maybe in testing. Best suited for that inside zone and gap schemes. He lacks that lateral explosiveness if you were a team that uses outside zone. Runs a little bit too upright at time and needs to improve that burst to the hole, which we kind of mentioned. He's patient, but he could improve that initial burst. I comped him to a Devin Singletary, right? Compact physical runner, good vision. A Leonard Fournette, maybe as a ceiling for him. They both possess a low center of gravity, similar power, ability to break tackles. So that's where I had Taj Brooks. Liked him a lot. He's another one of those guys that the more I watched him, the higher and higher he moved up my draft boards, and he ended up at number 13. And those are my guys right there who finished at the top of my late 3rd, early 4th round grades, which takes me to my next guy on the list. And this is my 1st and my 3rd round grades, and that's DJ Giddens, the Kansas State running back who rushed for 3,087 yards in his career at 6.0 yards per carry. He had back-to-back 1,200-yard seasons in his career. He is a really good player who has elite lateral agility, really good jump cuts, does really good at start-stop ability to freeze defenders. That allows him to create angles, slip through tight creases. He ranks 7th in 20 of the 2025 running backs with 0.29 missed tackles forced per attempt, which is a really good metric to kind of gauge future production in the NFL. Really good vision, processes at a high level, identifying the cutback lanes, adjusts the pass really well without losing momentum. He posted a 4.43 40-yard dash, 39.5-inch vertical, and a 10 broad jump in the combine. Really athletic. He is one of these guys, unlike the guys behind him, one of the first with big play home run potential, 9.1% breakaway run rate, which is 6th among all the running backs in this class. He has some receiving upside, 58 passes caught for 679 yards and 4 touchdowns in his career. Runs with really good toughness. He seeks contact. He falls forward, always fighting for the extra yards. I think he can succeed in multiple schemes. He had a late start to football. He didn't start playing football until he was a sophomore in high school. I think there's still some untapped potential there. There's some current concerns to his game, that high pad level with that lean frame, with that upright running style. Be concerned about the wear and tear. Not a pile mover, not a big tackle breaker. Raw in pass protection. Again, he's willing but really technically deficient, struggles with his hand placement. Sometimes, again, he can be a little bit overly patient, picking the wrong lane. Not a great short yardage running back. And when he comes to running routes, he runs right out of the backfield. He's late, relying kind of more on when he's wide open, doesn't create separation himself, which he's athletic enough to do it. You just don't see it on tape. Outside zone, wide zone would probably fit well for him. I comped him to a Chuba Hubbard style. He's a high cut, elusive runner with good size, but lacks the play speed and elite power or receiving polish. Both are very similar. I think Hubbard was similar coming out of college, and you saw his development. I think that's kind of his ceiling, or maybe a Kenyon Drake, who played with the Miami Dolphins. That's how I see DJ Giddens. I think he has really good athleticism. I still think there's some more there in his game, and I had him ranked as my number 12 running back in this year's class. That takes me to number 11 in this year's 2025 NFL Draft running back rankings. And that is a fun player to watch, and that's Bashal Tutin, the running back out of Virginia Tech, 5'8" 3/4", 211 pounds. Started his career at North Carolina A&T, and then moved over to Virginia Tech, where he amassed 2,022 rushing yards and a 6.3 average per carry. So he's been developing very well along his career. Really good 40-yard dash, 4.32. 40-yard dash with a 1.48 10-yard split at the combine. In-game speeds were tracked at 23.15 miles per hour. So he is a home run threat on every touch he gets. 21 runs of 15 yards or more, which is 15th in all of the FBS. Posted a 40.5 vertical, which is the best among running backs. 10.10 broad jump. Really good lower body that does translate through bursting through. Dynamic playmaker in space. Combination of speed and agility and receiving ability. Look like a dangerous playmaker at the NFL level. Really good at reading leverage and passing the edge. Really calm foam work, which explodes into those cutback lanes. 66% of all 2024 rushes were outside the tackles. Contact balance is good, really compact frame, uses that low center of gravity. Caught 68 passes for 811 yards in college. He has natural hands, good body control to adjust to those off-target throws. So he's a very capable and natural pass catcher. Scored 2 kick return touchdowns in 2023, so he offers that special teams upside. Really, really competitive, runs with a fiery edge. Really good rapid improvement, moving from FCS to FBS in the ACC. Well, I get another one of these guys with a late start in football. Didn't start playing until he was a sophomore. Here's the problem with Bashal Tutin. He's an absolute home run hitter, but he has one big glaring hole to this game. He has terrible ball security. He has fumbled 9 times over 366 carries in his last 2 seasons, 4 in 2024. The problem is he has 8 3/4-inch hands. So he has very small hands. That's going to be a huge concern for NFL teams coming out there. Do you go with guys behind him who I have ranked who don't have those issues, not the home run threat, not the exciting players, but going to be more consistent? Maybe those guys are going to get you 4 or 5 yards carry and not get you any home run threat ability. That's where Bashal, that's why I have him ranked ahead. He just has a special ability to instantly accelerate that almost no other running backs in this class have. But the problem is ball security that is really, really going to limit his upside if he doesn't get that taken care of. He lacks ideal size and power for consistent in between the tackles running. He's willing to run inside, but again, you see him bounce too much to the outside. He's really raw in pass protection. He's really going to probably be to start his career as a 3rd down running back anyway, with if you can get him to learn to secure the ball more, maybe he can get himself some more carries. Drop 9 passes, again, that shows that small hands is coming into play there. Occasionally bounces the ball outside too early, hesitates at the line. He misses some cutback lanes. So he had 8% of his runs go for no gain in 2024. Thrives in outside zone, struggles in the gap heavy or inside zone systems. So home run potential type of player with Bashal Tutin. I comped him to maybe this year's Devon Achane, or maybe a Tony Pollard type player if he can, clean up some of his ability to read and not bounce outside and clean up the ball security. So I like Bashal too, and I do understand why some people are much, much higher on him. I also understand why you might have him farther down your draft boards, because ball security is a huge issue that NFL coaches absolutely hate. If you can't hang on to the ball, then you're not going to see the field. So one glaring problem. So he has really big extremes. He's going to be a home run hitter who is good, could get you huge gains. But at the same time might be susceptible to negative plays or fumbles. So that's why I had him at number 11 on my list. So now we are reaching the top 10 of my draft board. And this is a guy that I really fell in love with as I watched him, and that is Brashard Smith, the running back out of SMU. He's one of the most dynamic and versatile prospects in the 2025 NFL draft. He was a wide receiver at the University of Miami, transfers over to SMU, becomes a running back. He's 5'9", 194 pounds, 4.39 40, 32.5-inch vertical. Had a breakout campaign where he amassed 1,332 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns, almost 2,000 all-purpose yards in his very first season as a running back. He hit 22.1 miles per hour on that 71-yard touchdown run against Pitt, a game-breaking speed tied for the sixth fastest ball carrier speed of all the running backs coming out of into the NFL draft this year. Exceptional agility, really good change of direction ability, lateral quickness is outstanding. He can make defenders miss in tight spaces, quick twitch agility, exceptional stop-start ability. You see those lateral jump cuts. Natural pass catcher. That is what you would expect for him being a wide receiver, right? He leverages his receiver background to run those really crisp routes, creates mismatches against linebackers. His really natural receiving skills, excels in space, finds those cutback lanes, manipulates defenders really well with tempo changes. He's amassed almost just over 1,300 kick return yards in a net. He did have a 98-yard touchdown return in 2023. He has the ability to line up as a wide receiver. He has the versatility to be the running back. So you can line up in the backfield as your running back. He's lined up as slot, lined up wide. Really low workload throughout his career since only had the 1 year as a running back. And that is a huge breakout in his first year as a running back with almost 2,000 yards, all-purpose yards, and 18 total touchdowns. The ceiling is really high with Brashard Smith. The flip side is ball security issues, right? He fumbled 5 times in 253 carries it kind of loosely in space. Small hands, 8 3/4-inch hands. Lacks the mass to maybe handle a heavy workload between the tackles. Still really raw, as you would expect in those running back instincts, right? Still inconsistent in his vision. Sometimes he misses those cutback lanes. No power, so he lacks the body strength to break tackles. He's really going to be need to get in space more. So he's not going to have really good short yardage value. So he struggles to move the change in those tough yardage situations. He's a tweener, not a polished runner or a really polished true receiver, but has potential in both. He sometimes can be a little over-reliant on his speed and elusiveness, relying a little bit too much on athletic traits than the fundamental running back techniques, which he's got to learn. He's only had that for 1 year. So I think the floor is a little bit low. I think he can come into the NFL, be a receiving running back, third down running back in the NFL, develop more, kind of do what Tyrone Tracy did to the Giants last year. He has flashes of being a really, really good running back in the NFL, maybe a James Cook style, who's also an undersized receiving running back, but developed into something more. If you guys remember Theo Riddick, who played for the Lions, he was a really good receiving back, just didn't really do well at rushing. That could be a floor for him. Maybe a Curtis Samuel type player as well. So I think there's tremendous upside with Brashard, game-breaking ability. If he can really learn to be a running back and run like a true running back and use those receiving skills, I think he'd be a really good running back at the NFL level, can develop into a starter. If not, to having a really good receiving running back, third down running back, there's value in that as well, which is why I had him ahead of Bashal. But I still think he offers you home run ability, but he offers the receiving ability that Bashal doesn't. Both struggle with a little bit of the dropsies and the fumbles but I think there's higher upside in terms of being a better overall running back with Rashard Smith. Now we have Caleb Johnson, the running back out of the University of Iowa. He was a 6'1", 224-pound running back. He had a breakout season this last year in 2024 with 1,537 rushing yards, 21 touchdowns, and a 6.4 yards per carry average. I understand that a lot of people are going to look at this and go, ooh, you have it on the back end of your top 10. I've seen him anywhere from here all the way up to as high as maybe number 3 in the class. I'll go through it. You'll maybe kind of see why I have him a little bit lower. His strengths, 6'1", that 224-inch arms. He's sturdy. He's well-positioned. He can handle, at least his body type, handle the NFL workload. He has a really good job of outstanding field awareness. He reads blocks. He gets to the second level very well. Particularly in zone schemes, he had an 86.3 rushing grade, 9.8%, 9.8 yards per carry in light boxes, breaks arm tackles with ease, excels in one-cut scheme. So he presses the line with disciplined tempo, explodes through creases. He's shown an ability to be running downhill very well between the tackles, but can also bounce it outside. Scored 21 rushing touchdowns in 24. Uses really good low pad level. Uses his legs well. Good short yardage guy as well. Difference between the running backs behind him: 0 fumbles. Really good ball security. Can be scheme versatile. Some of the issues I have with him: he's not an elite runner, right? He does not have very good lateral elusiveness. Just lacks top end speed, 4.57 yard, 40 yard dash, 1.62, 10 yards split. Not really good, good pass protection either. Inconsistent technique, doesn't recognize it very well. He relies on his size and strength over fundamentals. Doesn't really do well in pass catching. That might be just underutilized with the scheme at the University of Iowa. Only have 36 targets, really basic routes, no route tree. Here's one of my biggest concerns: really runs high pad level. It really exposes him to being hit really square. So my concern with Caleb and the way he runs is that high running technique that he has causes me concern for injury concern, leading to also maybe not having the long speed that I would like to see, not being a big home run hitter. He doesn't create on his own. That's another one of the things that I worry about. Did he benefit from having a really good offensive line and a really good scheme? Because I don't necessarily see his ability to create on his own and salvage plays, make something out of nothing. I think if the blocking isn't there, then does he get the kind of production that you're looking for? And that's where I get concerned with him. No special teams experience with Caleb throughout his career. So that's why I had him at number 9. I see that he can be a really productive NFL back, but I also have those concerns about the high running height to his game and not having some of the things that some of the other backs have in this class, which is the ability to create on their own. I just worry that Caleb was more of a production of the Iowa system and Iowa offensive line. I compared him to an Arian Foster, decisive rhythm-based running style, both similar. Melvin Gordon the third, really good straight line burst, good red zone running back. So that's where I had Caleb Johnson at number 9 in my list. Number 8 is Quinshon Judkins out of the University of Ohio State. 6 foot, 221 pounds. Remember, he started at Mississippi, where he rushed for 1,567 yards as a freshman. He transferred over to Ohio State, had pretty decent production there. Remember, he shared carries with Travion Henderson. The things I like about Quinshon, especially in his pre-Ohio State tape, elite contact balance, absorbs body blows very well. He is really explosive, really good acceleration, 4.48 40-yard dash and a 1.51 10-yard split. Really good one-cut ability. Shows really good vision. identifies running lanes very well, really good patient, allows the block to develop in front of him, had an 86.7 PFF grade. He's a very powerful physical runner, runs with violent intent, lowers his shoulder, looks to punish defenders. Another guy who has really good ball security. I think he can thrive in multiple different schemes. He played at that Ole Miss scheme, which is very different than what most run. Did really well in Ohio State's pro-style offense, really durable, and also displays really good pass protection, improved really well, and got really good coaching at Ohio State. So much better technique, much better willingness to engage blitzers. The thing about him, you would think about a 4.48 40, he would have better long speed to his game, and he just lacks that elite long speed. He does often get chased down on longer runs. Okay at receiving. He's not a great receiving back. Maybe that's from lack of usage, but he caught 59 passes, 442 yards over his career. Another one of those running backs who can be a little bit too patient at the time, hesitates behind the line, leads to too many negative plays, really tight hip, lacks the lateral elusiveness, not a great juke move, so not great in space. Only 43 forced missed tackles in 2024. That's the lowest among the class, among these power backs. So he doesn't really consistently shed tackles. Runs a little bit upright, not as bad as Caleb Johnson, but a little bit upright to his game. I see the potential and why some people have him ranked much higher on the list, maybe in the top 3. I think it's that ability where he doesn't force missed tackles and kind of sometimes is a little bit too patient, which is why I had him down my draft board a little bit. But the Ole Miss tape is really tantalizing. I think you have a guy here who could be a really good starting workhorse back in the NFL. Just caused me some concerns in looking at guys who I put ahead of him. That missed tackle ability is a really big one. Has the potential, maybe a ceiling in his game is to be a Todd Gurley type running back if he's able to hit his ceiling. Also compared him to like a Kareem Hunt, really physical, had decent vision to their games. And that brings me to one of my guys, pound the table guys in this year's NFL draft, and that is UCF's RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey is a really good running back. He ran a 4.40 40, 38-inch vertical. At 5'8", 3/4 inch, and 207 pounds, a little smaller type running back. He has elite lateral quickness. 4.28 short shuttle. He really good at cutting angles. Really high force missed tackles per attempt rate in the top of the class this year. Great change of direction ability, makes defenders miss in tight spaces. He has really sudden acceleration, maybe not as elite as Bashal Tutin, but he gets from 0 to 60 really quick. So that ability allows him to pull away from linebackers. He had 2.92 yards per contact per carry, which is first in this class. Really good vision, so he reads blocks very well. High-level processing, sets up tacklers with tempo changes. He caught 61 passes for 720 yards for 4 touchdowns. So he's a really capable, willing pass catcher with soft hands. He does a good job at running his routes, runs a variety of them out of the backfield. He has breakaway home run speed, 54 runs of 10 yards plus throughout his career. Really good low center of gravity, really compact frame that helps him slip through arm tackles. He amassed 3,792 yards at 6.5 yards per carry and 43 touchdowns throughout his career. Runs with a relentless edge, seeks contact, loves to fall forward. Really like RJ Harvey. One of his other problems, fumbled 6 times in 458 carries over his last 2 seasons. So he has some ball security issues, nothing like the Bashal Tutins, Rashard Smiths. Not a very good pass protector at all. Lacks lower body strength to move piles. Not great short yardage situation runner. He does have a tendency to bounce the ball. out to the outside. So that's a little bit overly patient, or sometimes he's looking to use his athleticism a little more. Now, it's not as bad as some people have thought said out there. I watched a lot of runs where he did try to break it to the inside, and he was getting to the second level before he broke it to the outside. So he's not looking to, a lot of times I don't see that he's looking to break it to the outside initially. He is trying to follow the blocking setup that was called. But at times he can rely too heavy on his athletic traits than utilizing those running back techniques that you really want him to display. Inconsistent sometimes in processing those wide zone reads effectively. He's never been a bell cow, so can he develop that into the NFL? Maybe he can, but that sometimes is also a plus in today's NFL, that you have less baggage coming into the NFL, less carries. I comped him to like a Tajay Spears, a compact shifty back with really good vision, or a Kenny Gainwell out of when he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. Both, again, another undersized kind of guy, but I think he has higher upside than both of those guys. Really like RJ Harvey a lot. He is one of my pound the table guys in this class. That stat of missed forced tackles per attempt really high with him. Maybe this is a little bit of an overreaction to the my lack of love for Bucky Irving last year. So maybe this is a little bit overreaction to that, but I really like RJ Harvey. That takes me to Dylan Sampson out of the University of Tennessee, who was a junior who declared for the draft out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He set the Volunteers single season rushing mark for 1,491 yards, 22 rushing touchdowns, 11 consecutive games with a touchdown this last year for the Volunteers. Another one of these elite explosive guys recorded a 4.42 40-yard dash, 10.48 100-yard meter dash in high school. He has breakaway speed, really good vision, displays excellent field vision, presses blocks, exploits cutback lanes effectively. Another one of these guys who's a natural receiver, really good hands, really good out of the backfield. He can run a variety of routes effectively. So you got another one of these guys who's a legitimate pass game threat, runs with tenacity, does a good job at maintaining balance through contact. Here's a difference, though, with some of the guys behind him, is he is really good on the goal line. He converted 33 of 36 carries, 2 yards or fewer to go into first downs. So he can also be utilized as a short yardage down back. That adds extreme value. He can be a home run hitter and a short yardage guy. He has explosive playmaking ability, super smart, even for a small guy, right? He's 5'8", 200 pounds. So will he be durable? Another one of these guys, though, that struggles with holding on to the ball. That holding on to the ball, not fumbling, is going to be a huge issue for Dylan Sampson. Just like Brashard Smith, just like Bashal Tootin, this is a big, big weakness in Sampson's game. He's undersized. He does lack some of the power to run through contact, but it's weird. Like, you see him, though. You see him get tough yardage in those short yardage situations. Not a very good pass protector at all. Really significantly lacks due to his size. Really not good at technique. Really bad at and inconsistent at blitz pickup. He's another one of these athletic guys. Sometimes he can rely too heavy on his agility, but I really like Dylan Sampson. He's one of these guys, probably one of the better home run hitting backs that also can maybe be a 3-down back, because he's shown an ability to get short, tough yards and be a goal line threat as well. And he can pass protect. So he could be not pass protect. He can be a really good pass receiving back. So I think he's one of these guys. That's why he's so high in my draft board, that he can be a true 3-down back in the NFL level. I compared him to a James Cook, Tariq Cohen are my comps for Dylan Sampson. So another one of my favorite guys in this class. I think he has maybe well above average to good starter potential at the NFL level. So we're getting up to my top 5 in the NFL draft. And so before we get to my top 5, I figured I'd go over a few guys here that may not have made my top 15 overall running backs that you might want to get familiar with and hear their names as they're going to be called on day 3, or maybe some of these on day 2 of the NFL draft. There's just too many running backs to cover them all. Some guys who maybe just missed my cut that you should probably know about. Jordan James out of the University of Oregon could develop into a 3-down back. Trevor Etienne out of the University of Georgia. And this is a guy, this next one, Ja'Cory Carski-Merritt, struggled to kind of evaluate him. I can understand and see why people are enamored with him. But he's a guy who I could think his name could get called much higher than others. Had some weird issues with the NCAA and availability and eligibility this year. Really strange. So he didn't get it. He basically played one game and missed the season. He's a guy I would be familiar with. Kyle Monangai, he is a bruiser, a break tackling machine out of the University of Rutgers. Raheem Sanders had a really good year out of South Carolina. Jaden Blue, 3rd down kind of running back that might be able to develop more at the NFL level. Ali Gordon, the second guy who had really good production earlier in his career, kind of tailed off. So there's some potential there as a starter at Oklahoma State. Another name I'll throw out there, and then we'll kind of move along. Watch out for Lane Larson. He is a small school prospect with exceptional receiving ability. So those are some names that I'd be on the lookout for. Again, I have a lot of running backs in this class. I think 26 of them ish, somewhere around there, 25, 26. Guys who I rated 1st through 5th round. There are so many running backs in this class, and they're going to get pushed on the draft board. I think you're going to get exceptional value in this year's draft. So there are a lot of names that I just couldn't get to. A lot of names kind of clumped together. So this class is so deep, and you can learn a little bit more out there, do some research on them. There's just too many running backs in this class to cover them all. I narrowed it down to truth, as I do with all my rankings, true 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round grades, and I even reached into a bucket of my 4th round grades as well. That takes us to our top 5 running backs in the 2025 NFL draft. And my number 5 guy on this list is a guy who just kept moving farther and farther up my draft boards, and that is Damian Martinez, the running back out of the University of Miami. 5'11", 206 pounds. He has a very powerful downhill running style, dense frame. He has a really powerful lower body, averaged 4.4 yards after contact, forcing 139 missed tackles over his career. Really good patience, displays a really high level of vision to identify running back lanes, patient to allow blocks to develop in front of him. Excellent contact balance, maintains momentum through contact, really good strong leg drive, only 8.2% of runs stuffed, which is the best in this class. Still has short area quickness and surprisingly good agile, quick feet, good ball security, effective in short yardage situations, has really good power and vision, determination, makes him highly effective in those short yardage situations. Handled significant carries in college, 514, super competitive. He is a really good, consistent running back that can probably get you 3, 4, 5 yards a carry. Does a really good job at limiting negative plays. The flip side, he lacks the elite long speed. He only ran a 5.1 40-yard dash. So he's not a breakaway runner like you've seen with some guys behind him in the R.J. Harveys and the Dylan Sampsons, right? The Brashard Smiths, the Bashal Tutons. You have those guys, but this is one of the better guys who I'll call that quote-unquote David Montgomery type, who are almost always going to get you positive yards. He's inconsistent in pass protection, no willing, not a good receiving back, only 32 catches for 391 yards total in college. Now, a lot of these guys behind him kind of rely on their athletic ability too much. This guy tends to rely on power at times. He is a true power back. Sometimes he relies too heavily on that, and he looks to just beat people up, run through defenders rather than utilizing his really good vision. Limited at bouncing to the outside, so he doesn't have really good east-west agility to his game. Sometimes it runs a little bit up right in his game, making him easier to tackle. So he's not the most athletic guy, but he's going to be a really good power running back that's going to get you consistent yardage. Again, he's minus the receiving aspect of the game, but he's a physical compact runner with excellent vision. He does have that part of his game, which compares to a David Montgomery. I would also say maybe a Ramondre Stevenson of the Patriots, same size, physical, really good at breaking tackles, though Stevenson, again, is a better receiver. That is a big lacking here in Martinez's game. But if you want an absolute super high-end ceiling, which he could reach, is a Josh Jacobs style runner with good vision, good contact balance, and can handle a heavy workload. So Damian Martinez, of these guys who are the power type running back, he is right up there near the top of this class at number 5. Next up is one of my favorite guys to watch, and that's Cam Skattebo out of the University of Arizona State. Remember, he started at Sacramento State, transferred over to Arizona State, and he burst onto the scene with 1,711 yards and 21 touchdowns, 45 receptions for 605 yards, becoming the second Big 12 player ever with both 1,500 receiving yards or 1,500 rushing yards and 500 receiving yards. He was 5th place in the Heisman voting. 5'11", 219 pounds. He had a heavy workload in college, 822 touches, but he displays excellent contact balance, an exceptional ability to stay upright through contact, breaking 104 tackles in 2024, averaging over 4 yards of contact after contact per carry. One of the best in this class. He runs violent. I mean, if you've watched Cam Skattebo, you know this, but he runs with violent intent. He lowers his shoulder. He wants to initiate contact, finishing with a forward lean, where he often requires multiple tacklers to bring him down. Runs with impressive power. He is a tough physical runner. Surprisingly, though, he did catch 45 passes for 605 yards. So, and he does really well. He excels with different running routes, runs the wheel route good, gets himself open in the flats, runs Texas routes really well. Soft hands, surprisingly agile for his build. Really good field vision, spots those cutback lanes really well. Good short area burst, but not very good long speed. He's not going to be a home run hitter at all. Very similar in terms of that Damian Martinez, in that he's going to be your good short yardage back. Reason I had him ahead of Damian, he also offers that receiving ability that Damian does not. He took snaps this year at quarterback, receiver, tight end, and punter. Really good goal line effectiveness. He converted 89% of carries with 2 yards to go. And like I said, he ran a 4.69 40. Not great. He's kind of slow. He doesn't have juice to his game. Again, some ball security issues. He's fumbled 3 times across 3 seasons. Not great at pass protection. One of the big things about Cam, and I understand and why some NFL people have said that they have him lower on our boards. You've heard from that report from different guys. He's reckless. In his reckless play style, I understand cautions teams against using a higher draft capital investment. My view is, though, I view him as a one-contract running back. Ride him out and then discard him. Just use him for the 4 years that you're going to have him, 5 if someone drafts him in the first round, which I don't think is going to happen because they don't want to use that high draft capital on a guy who's not going to be there, longer than one contract. But just ride this guy out. Let him get those 4-5 yards of carry for you. Let him score those touchdowns. Let him be productive for you. And then when he wears out, he wears out. That's kind of the way I view Cam Skattebo. Fans are going to love him. They're going to love his running style. They're going to love his play style. They're going to love what he can bring to the team. But I don't think his play style is going to be advantageous for having a long career in the NFL. He can be a workhorse back for you. And then, eventually his play style is not going to be indicative for a long career in the NFL. Compared him to a Jacob Hester style, or again, David Montgomery, again, compact physical runners, that same thing, not going to get you the negative play. I think that's very, very good value for NFL teams. Players who aren't going to dance around, lose yardage. You're consistently going to get, if you get stopped in line of scrimmage, fall forward, get you the extra yards. So Cam Scadaboo at 4. Number 3, Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. He finished his college career at Ohio State with 2,926 rushing yards, 37 touchdowns, 6.1 yards per carry average, 62 receptions for 641 yards throughout his career. He's 5'10", 195 pounds. He's a little bit undersized, but he is dynamic with elite speed, 4.38 40-yard dash. He was a track person, ran a 10.67 100-meter dash. So he has breakaway speed. He is your home run hitter in this class in terms of being the top, just straight up home run hitter who is not going to be maybe an every down workhorse back. Really good lateral quickness, great change of direction ability, which is shown by his 6.81 3-cone drill that allows him to evade defenders in space. Versatile receiving skills. He's a really reliable pass catcher. He's done well at screens, wheel routes, flats. He does a good job at creating mismatches against linebackers. Displays exceptional good field vision. Really good football IQ, right? Really good spatial awareness, allows him to turn small gains into really big plays, forcing 92 missed tackles in college despite his lighter frame. And one thing I love about Travion, which allowed me to move him up the draft board, he is, I think, the best pass protecting running back in this class. So he has the play style of like a third down back, and he can be a really good pass protector. He's not going to have to come off the field at all in passing situations. He's going to do really well at pass protection. He's a big play running back waiting to happen, but he's not been a workhorse back. He's going to be a guy that can fill that, what people have called that Jahmyr Gibbs role. I'm not comparing Travion to saying he's going to have the production of a Jahmyr Gibbs, but that role, he can be that lightning to the other running back's thunder. He's a little bit undersized at 5'10", 195 pounds. So he lacks the bulk to maybe be an every down back. Struggles to break tackles or push piles. That's not his game. So he's kind of the polar opposite there of the Dylan Sampson. Dylan can break away, but also at the same time have some power to his game. Finishing runs with power is just not his thing. He can break arm tackles, but doesn't always finish runs with the same consistency as any that you see from bigger power backs. Another weakness to his game, he tends to sometimes be too quick to bounce to the outside rather than trusting his vision. But I had him above a guy like Dylan Sampson. I think Dylan can maybe develop into a 3-down back. I think Travion can be a very, very valuable break the game wide open player at the NFL level. And there still just might be a little bit more to his game. So I had him at number 3. I had a player comp to him, Tony Pollard. Pollard also shows the same, good burst, versatility, creates chunk plays. But if Travion can develop a little bit more consistency to his game, follow blocks a little bit more, I think he could develop into maybe a Tony Pollard type player. Or if you're looking for the dynamic type player that maybe won't be an every down back, I compared him to a little bit of a Reggie Bush that we saw out of the University of USC. So if you remember Reggie Bush's play style, very similar pass catchers, the dynamic playmakers, didn't develop into really good 3-down running backs, but really served a place at the NFL level and were really valuable. That's where I see Travion Henderson. And next up is Omarion Hampton, my number 2 running back in this year's class out of the University of North Carolina. He's a workhorse back. He posted back-to-back 1,500-yard seasons at the University of North Carolina. He also added 67 receptions for 595 yards throughout his career. 6 foot, 221 pounds. He's a powerful downhill runner, ran a 4.46 40-yard dash. Really physical, good vision, good contact balance, 140 missed tackles in 2023. I think he can be a potential bell cow workhorse back. He's well proportioned, exceptional strength. He had 565-pound squat, 405-pound bench in high school. He breaks tackles very well, 4.2 yards per carry after contact. The very violent downhill runner, absorbs hits very well, rarely goes down on first contacts. In fact, 92.3 PFF grade, 6-month all running backs. Patiently reads blocks very well, manipulates defenders, exploits creases, maximizes his yardage really well, especially on inside runs. Right up there with Travion Henderson in terms of the pass protection. He allowed 0 pressures in 2024. Really good technique and strength and blitz recognition. Good, reliable receiving skills over his career. Workhorse running back with 622 carries. Really good athleticism is on display. Good short area burst and good ball security. I think he's going to be a really good pro, solid starter at the NFL level. I don't have a first-round grade on him. He's the tops of my second-round grade, but I think he's going to come in right away, and he's going to be a starter at the NFL level. The best of what I would call these power-type backs. Doesn't have a long speed that you'd like to see. He's athletic, but just doesn't – I don't think he's going to be a guy who's going to have many 15, 20-yard runs, decent agility, not elite for his size. So he's not as shifty as you would like. Slow to process some alternative running lanes. Sometimes he misses cutbacks, forcing run into traffic. So sometimes the polar opposite of guys who like to break to the outside. He just sometimes loses that vision, missing those running lanes. Not as nuanced as a route runner as I'd like to see. He has had a lot of carries, so already has some baggage coming into the NFL. Upright running tendencies. Sometimes he tends to run high. That leads to surface area and ability for tacklers to get to him. But overall, I think he can be a really good NFL player. I think he's going to come in and be a starter right away. I comp him to a Deuce McAllister type running back. McAllister's also sometimes had an upright. He was a north-south style runner, not an east-west runner. Both had decent speed. Maybe also comparing him to the strong build in yards after contact ability of a Breece Hall of the New York Jets. So Omarion Hampton, my number 2 running back, probably pretty easily there. I think number 2 is kind of a tier on its own. And then I kind of had Henderson, Scadaboo, Martinez, all kind of right in that area. And then my next tier, I had Sampson, Harvey, Junkins, Johnson, Smith, Tootin, Giddens, all third-round grades kind of bunched in together. But that's my number 2. And there's honestly no surprise at all from anyone who is the number 1 running back in the 2025 NFL draft. It is a generational talent at the running back position in Ashton Jeanty, one of the best running back prospects to come around in a while. You can argue he's a better prospect than Bijan was coming out, the running back out of Boise State. Absolutely phenomenal player. Won the Doak Walker Award, Heisman Trophy runner-up, 5'8", 211 pounds. So he's shorter, compact, elusive, explosive runner with elite contact balance. Really good vision, really creative, can be used in the passing game. He had 80 catches for 862 yards in college. Good pass blocking skills. 151 forced missed tackles in 2024. Generates yards after contact at 4.42. A lot of heavy workload, though. And he has pretty good speed. It was reported that he had over 21 miles per hour of in-game speed. Easy first-round pick. He's in the top 5 players in this draft. Sheds tackles very well. Low center of gravity. Reads defenses with an uncanny precision. Tempos his runs very well. Gets to the second level very, very quickly. Generated 63 runs of 10 yards or more in 2024. Crisp agility. Really good lower body flexibility, devastating stiff arm, really good spatial awareness, really good lateral quickness, 3-down back, has great power. He delivers punishing blows as you watch him, really effective in short yardage situations with a 90% conversion rate of 2 or fewer yards to go. Durable. He is just an unbelievable running back prospect. I fully expect him to go in the top 5. Worried that he did have 750 carries and 830 touches over his 3 seasons. He lacks the long speed. He doesn't have that extra, say, 5th, 6th gear for consistent long runs. The level of competition, I don't think that's as big an issue as some people think. I mean, he performed pretty well against Penn State. I mean, they were lining everyone up in the box, 10, 11 man boxes against him, and he was still getting really good yards. Doesn't have the great prototypical frame you'd like to see for a power back, but he's really good. I love Ashton Jeanty. I don't understand why you wouldn't love him. I think he's going to be a generational type running back coming out immediately. I had him comp to an Aaron Jones, similar versatile back, good vision, good contact balance, decent home run, decent receiving skills, with maybe not the home run threat that you would think. D'Angelo Williams was another guy. Both had stocky frames, elusive power backs. Absolute peak, creme de la creme is a LaDainian Tomlinson. And I think he is on par with LaDainian in terms of the status of a running back prospect. We haven't seen a running back prospect like this, or very few in the last few years. And so Ashton Jeanty is my number 1 running back in this class. So that is it. That is my top 15 running backs in this class. Again, an absolutely loaded class. I don't know if I put the over-under probably 8.5 on starters from this draft, or guys who will get the majority of carries in their backfield. What a wonderful class. You're going to see over the next few years the running backs become more and more of a bigger role in the NFL. We're starting to see it already. I think teams like my Lions have kind of helped usher that in, utilizing more of the running game. You're seeing so many teams that are trying to stop the big, long pass that's leaving the area open with less men in the box for running backs to thrive in the NFL. So with this class coming in at the same time as we're kind of seeing defenses have moved to more of the cover 3 quarters, that kind of stuff, leaving more running lanes and less people in the box. So I love this class. It's going to be a lot of fun on draft night. I wonder how many running backs will be drafted in the first round. I still think there'll be 2 running backs drafted in the first round, maybe 3, but if I were to put an over-under on it, I'd put it at 2.5 and take the under on that one. So 2 running backs I think will end up getting drafted in the first round. And then after that, there's going to be a lot of value, a lot of running backs drafted in the second round. I think the majority you'll see 3rd, 4th, 5th round. It's where the majority of these guys will be taken just based on positional value. And again, there's only 32 starting running backs. If you run 2 running back systems, now you're looking at 64 running backs. So based on the fact that I see 20 to 25 guys who I think could fill a role at the NFL level, there's just not enough positions available for the amount of running backs that are in this class. So with that, thank you guys so much for joining me. Made it through just about all of my rankings. So every position group is ranked. I got 1 more to go, and that's going to be quarterbacks. It'll be a really short episode since there aren't very many quarterbacks to cover in this year's NFL draft. So look forward to that episode. 4 days away from the NFL draft. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell so you're notified of when my episodes drop on the Draft Beard Podcast. And hope you guys have a great night.
The Draft Beard Podcast.